Hello everyone, I am Deepthi N, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering Department, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. I am going to talk on the subject programming the web. So now, before entering into the syllabus of the subject programming the web, first let me talk on web and internet. Yes. Is there a difference between internet and web? Yes, there is a difference between internet and web. So nowadays all of us are used to internet facilities. Is it right? So I know everyone are knowing the definition of internet. Still, let me start my topic by defining the internet. Okay. So what is internet? It is a collection of computers and other devices connected by equipment that allows to communicate with each other. Okay. So if two or more computers wants to communicate with each other means we are making use of an internet facility. Then what is web? So our subject name is programming the web. Is it right? So you should be knowing what actually web means. Okay. So we are used to the word called www. Is it right? So what is this? World Wide Web. So what do you mean by a web? Yes, web is a collection of websites or softwares and protocols which are installed on the computers on the internet. Is it right? So next point is about when we are communicating, when two or more nodes, I mean to say computers are communicating with each other means, we relate this communication to a client server communication. Client server communication. Okay. Yes. So what do you mean by a client server communication? Assume this is client and this is server. Okay. So now client and server is nothing but this is one computer 1 and this is computer 2. So these two computers wants to communicate with each other. Okay. So now the one who's request for a service, we call it as a client, and the one a node or a computer which provides the service is called as a server. It means client requests for the service from the server and server is going to reply for the client by giving a required services. So this is what client server communication. When two computers wants to communicate with each other, it has to be connected with an internet. So here how web is used. I said you that client wishes to communicate with server. Client should initiate the communication. Client should send the request to the server. Is it right? So from client side on the web, how the request is started? Yes, you know that a term called browser. Is it right? So browser is, through a browser a client is going to request a server to provide a necessary resources. Is it right? So then what is this browser? Yes. So a browser, browser is a program running on a client machine. So through a browser, client is going to initiate a communication by sending a request through the server. Okay. So now what types of servers are available? Yes, there are different types of server. Yes. So server types. Okay, there are different types of servers, so which we are used to. The first one is web server. So why it is used for? It is a computer serving HTTP request. So what is this term HTTP? So in the same session you will be knowing about that. So Web server is used for serving HTTP request, of which such as Apache server and then Microsoft Internet Information Server. Okay. So, next is about application server. So, this application server is a type of computer that hosts and executes web applications. So, any activities related to web applications are functioned by application server. So, next is about database server. So, this database server is devoted for running a DBMS, that is database management system, such as MySQL, SQL and Oracle. Okay. So, next is about mail server. So, which is used for creating and satisfying mail request using SMTP. So, SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So, next is media server. So, this is a special type of server for servicing requests for images and videos. So, it is completely devoted for images and videos, named as media server. Next is about authentication server. So, this is it is in need, because always we have to work with an application where it should be authenticated, is it right? So, authentication server handles the security needs of an web application. Okay. In client server communication, I told you, right, client is going to send a request to a server, is it right? So, how it is going to initiate the communication? Through browser, is it right? So, once you open a browser, in an address bar, usually we give, for example, if I take an example of Google, how do we give in an address bar? We give www.google.com. But we all know that a computer on the internet is being uniquely identified by IP address. This IP address is in the size of 32-bit integer and it is a numeric address, is it right? So, all the computers on the internet have been uniquely identified by IP address, but to access the resources from the server, we are using a textual name. For example, we want to search we want to access some documents or a resource from a Google server, means what we will give? google.com. But that server has been uniquely identified by IP address, which is a numeric address. But you all know that all the servers or all the computers on the internet have been uniquely identified by IP address. It is difficult for us to remember that IP address. So, instead of that, we make use of a textual names. So, this textual name we call it as a domain names. Okay. So, here you can see three parts in a domain names. So, this part we call it as a top level domain. This is the first top level domain and this is second top level domain and this is the third top level domain. So, domain names is usually used to convert the textual names to an IP address. Okay. Since the IP address is difficult for people to remember, instead we go for using textual names. So, this textual name we call it as a domain name and the domain name has been divided into several parts. From this side we consider this as a top level domain, first top level. Okay. This is second top level domain and this is third top level domain. Like this, you have seen many domain names like this. For example, when you want to find the result in a VTU website, how do you search? www.vtu.edu. VTU results.ac.in. So here you can notice the top level domain is in. Here the top level domain is com. So let me go in detail about this. So the top level domains can be of different types. The first one can be a generic top level domain. Okay. So in generic top level domains, again we have several domains, and under that unrestricted. So for example, .com, that represents commercial, .net, .org, that stands for organization, .info, information. Next is about sponsored, .gov, it is government, .mil, military, .edu, that is education. New, so this is a new thing, okay. So that is .google, okay, .mcdonald's, so on like that. So second type is that country code, okay. For example, you have seen that I said you right, www.vturesults.ac.in, is it right? So US, UK, Canada, India, Australia, so on like that. So by looking at the domain names itself, and also by looking at the top level domains, you can identify what type of top level domain is that. For example, info means information, edu means stands for education, .uk means it is a country code, like that. Okay. So next thing is that I told you, right, all the machines on the internet have unique IP address, but for easier purpose we are making use of a textual names, that is domain names. For example, you can consider this an example of a phone number. If I have a phone number means I don't save a number as it is, I will give a name to a phone number, right. Likewise, for a unique IP address we will give some textual name, that is named as domain names. Okay. So next thing is that actually all the computers on the internet are having unique IP address, but I am passing the textual names. So if I pass textual names means how the communication is established between the client and the server means you can look into this diagram. How means when client wants to communicate with the server means he don't remember an IP address of all the server for which he is requesting for, is it right? So he make use of a domain names. For example, I am using google.com. So domain name I will give www.google.com, is it right? So this domain name is passed on the internet and it is being received by the name server. So what is this name server? Yes, name server is a collection of machines on the internet and also which are operated by organization which converts the domain names into IP address. So there are so many collections of name servers. So you cannot say that a single name server is going to convert all the domain names into an IP address. No, it is not feasible. There will be a set of name servers, okay. If this name server can convert this domain name into IP address, it will work. If it in case it is not doing means by that time the same request is been passed to a nearby name server and one of the name server is going to convert the domain names into IP address. This is how the process is carried out. Finally, name server converts the domain name into an IP address and that IP address is transmitted over the internet and it has been received by the server. Okay. So by that time this server is going to provide a request for the client. So this is how the domain name, this entire architecture we call it as a DNS, which stands for domain name system. After understanding the domain name system, you need to understand about one more point, that is, this is what? A statement you may be seen always on the address bar, is it right, in the browser. So, what is this? HTTP : 2 forward slashes and some path you can notice, is it right? So, this entire statement we call it as URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It has mainly two components, that is protocol and domain names. There are protocols means an application protocol supported to perform web communication. So, by looking at this example, you can notice that this is a protocol and this is a domain name. Okay. So, HTTP is a protocol. There are different types of application level protocols. One is that HTTP. So, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is used for web communication. Is it right? In the last topic, I have used the term called HTTP, right, which is used for web communication. HTTP is HTTP provides resources in the form of HTML document. So, it builds a easy way to exchange a data on the web. So, that is why HTTP is useful. Next is about FTP protocol, that stands for File Transfer Protocol. Whenever we want to transfer some files between a computer, we will make use of FTP. Likewise, POP, IMAP and SMTP. There are several different protocols which are serving to store or to retrieve email services. It means email related protocol this is. So, coming back to the same example, here you can notice whenever you see a URL on the address bar, you can realize that yes, this part is limited for protocol. Here it is HTTP, its function is used for web communication. Likewise, FTP means it is used for sharing files between the computers. Likewise, you can realize. Then these two components has been separated using colon and 2 forward slashes. Okay. Next part speaks about a domain names. So far in the previous topic, just now I have discussed on domain names. So, this is commercial representing this is a second level top domain, that is computer hop. So, this is third level domain, that is www, that is World Wide Web. So nowadays we are not making use of www at all. Simply we can give web, we can give a computer hop, we can give CCP or anything like that. Instead of searching www.google.com, nothing like that. Directly we can search. Is it right? So next, in the URL, we can notice few more parts are available. So this part, these two parts represents a directory, that is a path. So for which data you are looking for from the server, that has been stored in this directory, and that data file name is this. The last part indicates for which resource you are requesting from the server. That requested file name will be presenting here. Okay. And the previous parts represents the directory, that is path, where the content has been stored. Okay. I told you that our subject name is programming the web. So far we have discussed about the web and how the web communication will be established through a protocols. Is it right? So now programming. So how we can do a web programming? Which are all the tools used for building a web programming or to develop a web pages? The several tools are used to program the web applications or to develop a web pages: HTML, JavaScript, CSS, XML, XSL, Perl, PHP, Ruby, Rails. So all these kinds of scripting languages are used to develop a web pages or to build a web communication. So the first tool, let us discuss on HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay. So HTML is a building block of web. HTML is widely used language in all the web applications to develop a web pages. This language is been used by most of the working professionals where they are working in the web development domain. HTML is used for defining the structure of the document. I told you that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. These terms might be new for you, is it right? So, what is hypertext meant for? Refers the way in which web pages are linked together. Thus, the link available on a web page is called as hypertext. So, this is very clear. So, pages are linked together, is it right? So, that has been achieved through an HTML language. So, that is defined as hypertext markup language. Usually HTML is used for developing web pages, right? So, web pages means it will be more attractive, is it right? Where it will be decorative. To do all those, many different tags are used. That is, markup language means a text documents with tags that tell a web browser how to structure it to display. It means, yes, markup language is used for structure the document, that is how it has to be presented. That is why a markup language is used with different types of tags. So, let me take an example on this, how an HTML syntax is used. So, there you can clearly understand how we can develop a simple web page. I have took one simple example of HTML program. Okay. So, this is a simple code of HTML. So, and also you can consider this as a syntax of HTML program. See, the very first statement indicates doc type. So, that is a type of documents of HTML version, and always all HTML programs consists of a root tag called as HTML, and also I am using a word called tag. Yes. So, the data enclosed within an angle bracket, we call it as a tag, and all these tags are having its own functionality. So, under the root tag HTML only, we are supposed to start coding the program. So, after that, if we wish to give some title to our program, that can be given in the header part of a program. So, you have to open the head tag. Within that, any title which you wish to give for a program, that has to be given with a tag called title. So, now you can notice this is the open tag. Inside that I have specified the title which I wish for this program. Along with that, that title tag has to be closed. Okay. After that, any number of statements you can give it as a title. Okay. Finally, after ending up the title, you need to close the header part also. So, this was opened here, later you need to close it. So, next is actually basically HTML program consists of two main parts. One is head part and the second one is the body part. So, in head part we consist of a title, and in the body part whatever the implementation you want to execute or any operation you want to implement, those things are given inside a body part. Okay. So, open a tag called body, and there I wish to print a message Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Okay. So, for that I will make use of a tag called paragraph, where we use a tag named as P. So, open the tag, then give any message which you wish to print, and also close the tag. Okay. After that, you want to print few more statements, you can give you can open a paragraph tag and you can give a content. After that, you have to close the body part. Finally, close the root tag, that is HTML. Okay. So, this is what a simple HTML program can be written. Okay. So, once you execute this program, how output will be looking? Is it right? I will talk on that. Before that, where to type this program, how to execute this program, this is very important. Is it right? So, any HTML programs can be typed in any type of editors or on notepads. Yes, the following steps need to be carried out while executing an HTML program. The first step is that you have to write a program using any text editors. Okay. The second step is that you have to save the file with .html extension. For example, this is one simple HTML program I have written, right. If I am saving this program in C drive, there a directory named as web, there I am giving a file name simple dot. If I am saving this file named as simple .html, simple.html in the folder called web in the C drive. Assume I have saved in like this. So, that is about saving the file with .html extension. Step 3 is that you use any web browser for running the file. Okay. So, how it will works means, where you have saved the file, on that file you can double click on it, automatically it will be opened using a web browser. So, finally, you will get an output message. Output message will be displayed on the web page. Since you have given a title called programming the web, so in the tab of the output you can notice there will be programming the web. Okay. So, the body part is for operation purpose, right, where you have displayed a message Maharaja Institute of Technology. So, finally, your output will be Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Okay. And also in the URL part of the web, you can notice where you have saved your file, under which directory, under which drive. So, that will be the URL of your program. Since we have given the title as programming the web, so this will be appearing in the tab of your output screen, and the message to be printed is Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. So, in the body part, in the text area of the output screen, this message is going to display, and also this program is been running in the local host. That is why the URL will be like this: C drive, web directory, simple.html.